Today I'm really delighted to welcome Theresa Reintke. She is the founder of the UK-EU Friendship Group in the European Parliament. She's a Green MEP and a wonderful supporter of Britain and the British people. I would just like to start with where we are today in terms of the negotiations and how you feel, how likely is it now that the negotiations are going down to the wire? Do you think we're going to have a deal? Are we not going to have a deal? Is it going to be close? What's still the sticking points there?
Well, I think what we are seeing right now is that all these promises that were made, that there is an oven-ready deal that would just have to be signed, that this is going to go down in a couple of negotiation sessions. All of this was just cheap talk, and we see that there is nothing behind this. It is much more difficult. In the European Parliament, we always said that we would need more time to negotiate because there are a lot of very controversial points because of the red lines of the British governments with regards to the future of the cooperation. So I think that striking a deal, at least very, very shortly, is not going to be possible. We hope that there might still be a push because what is unraveling in front of our eyes right now, it's really the disaster that Brexit means. And I mean that economically, obviously, in the middle of a global pandemic, but I also mean that politically it's weakening the UK and the rest of the European Union in front of a global scene where conflicts are escalating, where autocrats are basically strengthening their grip on societies in China, in Russia, and still today also in the US. And also from a human perspective, I mean, rights of people are being taken away, and I still have this glimmer of hope that the British government, that the UK government will come to its senses, and then we can still have the possibility to strike a deal.
There are heads of state behind us from 27 countries meeting right now. How do they feel about Brexit? Are they annoyed? How do they feel about Britain and this threat to breach the previous agreement already? I mean, we always neglect to think about how Europeans are reacting to us. What are they feeling like now and thinking about Brexit?
Well, I think they feel like a lot of people in the UK feel that promises have been broken and a lot of trust has been lost. And the latest move with the internal market bill that is set out to break the withdrawal agreement is obviously another step that goes into that direction. So I think it will be difficult for these heads of states to find an agreement without real assurances from the UK government that this deal will actually be kept, that the UK will live up to its promises. I still hope that it's going to be possible, but I can tell you it looks very, very difficult right now.
Most people in Britain now think that leaving the EU was wrong, 50% to 39%. Most British people think no deal is a bad outcome. Most people think it's important for UK to maintain close cooperation with Europe. Do you think the UK government is respecting these desires of the British people? What's your message to the UK government today?
Well, I think that in the way that the negotiations have been ongoing, this is absolutely not being reflected. But I can only tell to the British public and all the people that feel desperate right now that obviously these views are being seen. I mean, in the European Parliament, we still see the very big group of people in the UK who would like to have close relations, who want to keep close ties in the future, that we know that the UK government doesn't speak for everyone in the UK, and that we will do all that we can to make these voices heard and to still try to represent these views in the Parliament and in the European Union.
And so what is your advice to citizens now to sort of how to stay connected to Europe even as the national government disengages? Is there anything that we can do, whether it's cities, regions, whether it's businesses, whether it's campaign groups, whether it's different sectors, or how do you advise us to stay connected?
Really on all levels, when there is more disengagement from the government, try to engage even more. And Sandra, you have mentioned a lot of great initiatives when we look at town twinnings, when we look at associations, when we look at business communities that are starting to work with each other. And I can only tell all the citizens in the UK who want to do this that on the side of the EU we are going to work with the Friendship Group but also with other initiatives as much as we can to make this possible, because after Brexit, as I said before, the worst that can happen is turning our backs towards each other, because if there is ever going to be a chance of the UK rejoining the European Union, this can only be built on very strong cooperation between the citizens.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to hear, and I hope your messages get through to UK officials who are not here today, but who are listening avidly in London. And there's a threat from Boris Johnson that he might walk out of the talks at the end of the week. Let's hope he doesn't, and he listens to you. Let me come across to Graham. So Graham Watson, a former MEP for many years, head of ALDE in the European Parliament, and a senior Liberal Democrat. Graham, welcome. What is your feeling on today? What's your sense of the likelihood of the deal, and what kind of advice would you be wanting to give to the UK government at the moment in terms of getting this close cooperation?
Well, I think the decision to leave the European Union was a blunder that will blight our continent, probably on a par with Russia 1917 or Germany 1933. But we have to move forward. We have to find an agreement with our continental neighbours. And I hope that we can get a deal which is a respectful deal, a deal that will look after livelihoods, a deal that will safeguard standards, a deal that will keep close ties between the people of the United Kingdom and the people of the continent. That is what our negotiators must aim for.
And thinking about the impact of Brexit at the end of this year, the full Brexit, we leave the single market and customs union. Many people think that the effects of Brexit will be disguised under the effects of COVID, which are going to be massive next year. What do you think about that? Will the British people actually feel the loss of being in the single market customs union and all the agencies that we're going to be leaving? Will they feel it? How will they feel that?
I think the British people sense that the vote to leave was a mistake. Their leaders will not admit it, but the people sense it. Some of them may even sense that the light at the end of the tunnel is the headlight of an oncoming train. Certainly few, I think, currently have any real sense of the impact of Brexit. But they do want our government to strike a deal. They know that a deal is better than no deal. They know that a deal must respect our neighbours. And our message to the UK government and to Boris Johnson really boils down to this: honour our people, respect our neighbours, keep our country's word, and sign a deal as we agreed to in the withdrawal agreement.
Absolutely, and I mean, but this is a historic moment, really, and I'm not sure that everybody in the UK really appreciates the momentousness of this action, even after 4 years of campaigning. How do we create the sense of a European project in UK in the years to come, a sense of commonality between British people and Europeans? That we are part of one continent, a shared history and a shared future. Because still very much in UK it's us and them. Brussels is over there, Britain is over here. So how do we create that shared identity, do you think?
We live in an age where nationalism is rampant and where protectionism is the flavour of the day. What we need is a deep conversation, deep discussion and debate with the British people about where our interests lie, about what sovereignty means in a world where borders no longer have the sense they once had, in a world where communications, flows of money and people and goods and services cross borders all the time. What sovereignty is about how you control outcomes, and you control outcomes by working together with others whose values you share.
And final question, I mean, you're in a political party, the Liberal Democrats. How would you like to see political parties working together in the future? I mean, they have not done so very well in the UK, or even across borders. So what would you like to see political parties doing now to shore up democracy and institutions and the relationship with Europe?
Well, political parties are the tribes of politics, and tribalism, sadly, is always with us. But I think there is a recognition across party, and by that I include also many Conservatives in the United Kingdom, that we need to work out a way of maintaining good relations with our neighbours and making the best of a bad job. It may be that in 10 years' time we decide to rejoin the European Union. For the moment, we've got to try to keep things as good as possible in the circumstances.
Thank you very much, Graham, and thank you. We wish everybody well. Thank you. And indeed, we wish our friends in the European Council and the leaders to work together for the recovery plan. We want the best for our European neighbours, and we hope that Britain stays part of the European project somehow.